Hello everyone, Bible believers around the world. Now this is a video about Esau slash the Edomites that's actually separate from my series I'm currently doing about unmasking the Edomites. I just wanted to kind of make a sequel to a video I did in the past about timing kills false doctrine. So right here, we have a coin of Herod the Great's grandson, the Black Edomite. So Herod the Great was from the time period of 72 BC. So in 72 BC, the Edomites are swarthy, they have Negro noses, large lips, and afros, as you can see on this coin right here. If you look at the nose, you can see big Negro nose, you can see the large lips, and you can see the afro hair. Once again, so his grandfather was in the time of 72 BC. And in the time of 72 BC, we know that the Edomites are black people. But one thing I want to show you is that white people were already a thing in 72 BC on a completely different continent than where the Edomites were living. Right here, we have a Roman coin depicting a white woman from one of the barbarian tribes of Europe. Now this coin is from 48 BC. This coin only came 20 years after Herod the Great. And keep in mind, Herod the Great was from the time period of 72 BC. The Black Edomite we just looked at a little while ago was Herod's grandson. So that's 2 generations later. So this woman only comes 20 years after Herod the Great, and she's in Europe. So during the exact same time period that we have black swarthy Edomites in Arabia, we have white people already in Europe. Timing really does kill false doctrine, because these two nations cannot be the same people, because they had already developed their so-called racial characteristics on their own, separate from each other. Because Edomites, they're over there in Arabia, that area, white people, Europeans over there in Europe, and they're already white, blonde-haired, and everything in Europe during the same time period that the Edomites are swarthy in Arabia. Timing kills false doctrine. The timing alone really puts a huge hole in the Esau is the white man doctrine. And sometime in the future, I'm going to do a series about the descendants of Japheth and who they are today. Because there is a video on the internet, and there's multiple videos like it, but there's one that comes to my mind, and I believe it's over an hour long, and it's a guy trying to prove that white people, Europeans, are not Japheth, but they are Edomite invaders. Now we're going to cover the story about Zepho the Edomite and his fighting against Greece in the Unmasking the Edomites series. But I'm going to say one thing right there. If white people evolved from Esau, so white people come from Edomites, how come some Edomites were separate from the evolution process? Because we've already had white people coexisting on a separate part of the earth during the same time period that we have black Edomites. So how come not all of the Edomites evolved into white people? All right? And we're already seeing it in the Unmasking the Edomite series that the white man cannot and is not Esau or the Canaanites. The Canaanite doctrine is pretty rare, but we just saw that the Canaanites were black. There's ancient depictions, multiple of them, of the Canaanites being black. I mean, the Canaanites are literally descendants of Ham. You know, they're related to Cushites and Egyptians and all that type of stuff. So we know they're not white. And we know Esau's not white, and we're going to learn even more and even further that he's not white. So why are some of the Edomites not evolving into white people, and only some of them are based on this doctrine? And one thing I'm going to tell you right now is, for some of these guys who get into history outside of the Bible, like the Moorish period, the Moors, from Morocco, or they talk about the Sephardic Jews, scattered Israelites. One thing that is very clear in history, in the writings of those people, is that when they were scattered into Europe or marched into Europe, they found white people already there. The Moors moved in there, and white people were already located in Europe when they moved in. The Sephardic Jews were having relations with the white people of Spain. If Esau was an invader and the so-called white man was not native to Europe, and he originally came from Yemen or Africa, like these camps want you to believe, then how come the Moors and the Sephardic Jews found white people already there when they moved in? They didn't just show up. That's a problem too, because why are they already there then? You know, and then you can go back to the Greek period. I mean, they were already there in the time of the Book of Maccabees, you know, and before then. But you know, they weren't showing up in the scripture then because the Bible focuses mostly on the descendants of Shem and Ham, because that's who lived near the Israelites. Japheth, the white man, was far off and far away. You know, that's why you don't hear talk about the Chinese and the Japanese and the white man, and that's why these camps take advantage of those peoples who live far away not being mentioned, because then they can say the Chinese and the Japanese are Moabites just because Japan is not mentioned in the scriptures. You know, and then they'll say the white man is Esau just because he doesn't show up much, but he actually is very much active in the Book of Maccabees and in Ezekiel prophecy. Now, I don't want to spoil too much because I'm going to pull this out and I'm asking the Edomites series. But one thing that's very interesting, we already know that white people were already in Europe before the Sephardic Jews and the Moors showed up. So that's something. We already know white people were already white while Edomites were black in Arabia. So that is something. And another nugget of truth is the fact that Ezekiel's prophecy for the Gog and Magog wars, those are wars of European white nations are going to be fighting in the future and in the end times. And Ezekiel in his prophecy saw thousands of years into the future, closer to the time period that you and I are currently living in than his time period. And despite being thousands of years in the future, in his prophecy, he still chose to identify the inhabitants of the land as being Japhetic in origin. He didn't say the scattered Edomites. So you're really saying that the Most High and the prophet Ezekiel got fooled by Edomites pretending to be Japheth. Because why did Ezekiel in his prophecy, when he saw the future of what was to come, he still considered them Japheth and he didn't consider them Esau? His discernment and the Most High would have told them if they were Edomites, but he didn't classify them as Edomites. You know, it's a whole thing because they keep saying, you know, they keep theorizing and come up with false doctrine that Esau's name is supposed to change. So, okay, now Esau is going to be called Japheth. Okay, now Esau is going to be called a Grecian. Now he's going to be called a Roman. You know, I just wanted to put this video out there and make this as a sequel to my Time and Kills False Doctrine video I did a while back.